November is Native American Heritage Month, and as Puerto Ricans, we dedicate it to honoring and reclaiming Taíno history. During this month, we explain what La Indiera of Puerto Rico was, where it was located, and who lived there. We will share with you all the historical and documented evidence available online, year by year, through censuses, colonial reports, and documents sent to the kings of Spain that mention La Indiera of Puerto Rico, so you can see the truth for yourself. The idea that the Taínos became extinct in the year 1500 is a historical lie. The documents prove that the Spanish government, including the kings themselves, always knew there was an indigenous reservation on the island of Puerto Rico, but they chose to lie, claiming that the Taínos became extinct in 1512 in order to commercially exploit the island of Puerto Rico, while keeping the indigenous people confined to a reservation in the mountains known as La Indiera. This community of Taínos endured for centuries. They survived within La Indiera through the Spanish invasion and colonization. That population survived until the U.S. invasion in 1898, when their descendants were displaced from the mountains. They were relocated to new rural housing projects along the coasts and to New York, where they worked in factories and on farms. Many of them blended into the general population. Their descendants still live in Puerto Rico, unaware that they are the direct heirs of the Taínos of La Indiera. Throughout this research, we have carried out an exhaustive analysis based on official and government documents from 3 historical periods: the Spanish rule, the U.S. occupation, and the modern Puerto Rican government. We will analyze all that evidence from the 3 governments, the Spanish, the American, and the Puerto Rican, which prove beyond any doubt that the Puerto Rican Taínos never disappeared. From the earliest colonial reports to the censuses of the 20th century, the evidence shows that the Taínos took refuge in the Central Mountains after the conquest wars of the 1500s. They settled mainly in the municipalities of Utuado, Adjuntas, Lares, Maricao, Yauco, and San Germán, in a region the colonizers called La Indiera. Indiera is a word that literally means the land of the Indians. When the Spaniards forced the Taínos into the mountains, they sought refuge in the Central Mountain Range, protected by the dense vegetation that made it impossible for the Spanish cavalry hunts, where soldiers with tracking dogs roamed the valleys searching for indigenous people to enslave. Those mountains became their last refuge and stronghold of freedom. Any Taíno who was not there was captured, enslaved, or killed. There are at least 17 government reports written over the course of more than 3 centuries that document how the government knew this indigenous population was still alive and actively participating in the daily life of Puerto Rico. The documents show that the Taínos preserved their customs, agriculture, language, and beliefs, even though chroniclers hid their identity under terms like pardos, jibaros, or rural inhabitants. During the U.S. invasion of 1898, American soldiers also saw them. In their reports, they described finding people with copper-colored skin, short stature, and indigenous features, living in humble huts and cultivating cassava, corn, and coffee on the mountain slopes, without realizing that they were looking at the direct descendants of the Taíno people. After the invasion, many of them were relocated to housing projects and rural communities built by the new U.S. military government. Over time, these jibaros blended into the general population, but their cultural and genetic heritage survived in the mountains, where their descendants still preserve ancestral practices. The new insular government, under U.S. sovereignty, never officially recognized these communities as indigenous. On the contrary, these people were taught to deny their Taíno identity, repeating the Spanish colonial narrative that had declared them extinct. Because recognizing their existence would have limited the economic exploitation of the island. Acknowledging that native populations existed would have meant recognizing their rights to the land and its resources, something incompatible with U.S. interests in the production of coffee, sugar, tobacco, and rum. Thus, a historical lie was maintained, one that still persists today. thousands of Puerto Ricans do not know that they are direct descendants of the Taínos from the mountains, because their grandparents and great-grandparents were forced to keep their origins silent. They were taught to identify as Jíbaros, but not as Taínos, even though both words describe the same heirs of the mountains. Today, the descendants of those Taínos still live on the island, preserving our ancestral traditions. The use of the hammock, cooking over a wood fire, and the preparation of pastels, the nighttime catching of buruquenas, freshwater crabs, the cultivation of conucos, small traditional farming plots, natural medicine, and many other inherited practices. Each everyday gesture is a living trace of their culture. Their existence is irrefutable proof that the Taíno identity never disappeared. It survived hidden, marginalized, and impoverished, silently resisting under 3 different governments: the Spanish, the American, and the Puerto Rican. Despite all the historical, archaeological, and genetic evidence, the government still refuses to formally recognize the Puerto Rican Taíno people as a living community, ignoring that they are the original guardians of Puerto Rican culture. But you can help change that. It is very likely that you are a Taíno descendant and don't even know it. We are going to explain how a person can determine if they have Native American ancestry and what the official steps are to register as a member of a recognized indigenous community. This process is essential for the Taíno community of Puerto Rico to be officially recognized by both the Puerto Rican and U.S. governments. The Taíno community is the true root of our national identity, and if you are of Taíno ancestry, you should be part of it. They are living proof that despite colonialism and centuries of neglect, the Taínos are still here. Like this video and follow us to watch the full series.